All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who rule well. And also honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so today I wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about all day. It's a mix of things, right? It's accountability. What type of leader you should be, who should be a leader. And I couldn't quite. I found some scriptures that I wanted to talk about, but I couldn't really find a specific line of scripture, so it's kind of a mixture of all those things. And the reason why I was thinking about this was because at work, we always have this we always have this who's gonna do it, right? We always have these ideas that we want to take hold of, but who's going to be the guy? Who's going to be the one who takes responsibility for what's going on? And I was thinking about it as we were in the meeting, and I was like, man, that's what a leader truly is, right? We've grown up thinking that a leader is someone who's loud and is stronger than everybody else or cooler than everybody else. What is that? Let me see. I think it looks like that. Oh shit! Just lock it. Boom. James 2:3, it says, "And ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, stand thou there, or sit here under my footstool," right? And this is a mentality that people have, that the well-dressed guy, or the cool guy, or the guy who can bench press 100 200 pounds, or whatever it is, but that's not what a leader is. A leader is someone that says, or looks at a problem, right, and says, this is my fault, and what can I do to fix it? That's what a leader is. Or how can I take the brunt of the consequence, so that in my example, the rest of the company doesn't feel it? Or how can I take the brunt of the consequences so that my children don't have to feel it? Or how do I take the brunt of the consequences so I'm not blaming my wife for what's going on? Or how can I take the brunt of the consequences so that my friend doesn't have to? That's what a leader is. And there's no better example of that than the Lord Yahweh Shai, right? Because what did he do? He took the ultimate blame, right? Here it was, this man, and we know that he had different incarnations before he was the Lord Yahweh Shai. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We know he had different incarnation before he was the Lord Yahweh Shai, but as the Lord Yahweh Shai, he was perfect, and he was sent here to take the blame. I'll take this hit. I'll take the L, so that my nation, my people, don't have to feel the consequences of their wrongdoings. And that's what a leader is, right? And for whatever reason, when I think of this, like, leadership and like let's say a camp leader or a camp head, right? When I think of that, I always think of this guy here from Chicago that fell out, Nazariah, right? I always think of him because he and guys like him will say things like, "Oh, I ain't the leader," but they talk the most, right? They're the most rowdy. They fill up with air the most, and I think of that because it's like that's the example of a bad leader. That's the example of somebody who you can't follow or you shouldn't follow, right? And I thought I was thinking of this video here. This little kid, right? Check this out real quick.
You the other girl. You the mama. So at least I'm a girl. Right? At least I'm a girl. And mama daddy. I'm grown. I'm a daddy. I'm grown. Stop eating your chest.
Little waterhead nigga. So you had this little kid. He was beating his chest, right, saying that I'm the daddy. I'm grown, right? And where did he get that from, right? He was doing his best rendition of something that he had seen outside of him. Okay, this is what a leader should be, right? But really, the example of a leader is one of a couple of different things. But one, service, right, or ministry, right, which is the same thing, right? And taking responsibility for what goes on, right? Now this kid, far as he knew, he was the boss, right? But again, he was just doing his best rendition. Now, if there's a longer clip of that same video, and I think the little girl he was talking to was his sister, and she ran up on him and knocked him down, and he started crying. and that's these guys that they call themselves leaders, or they put on as they are leaders, and then when they get a little hit, they start crying like the babies they are, right? So I wanted to talk about what a leader is, right? Because there's a couple of examples in the scriptures, right, of things that you in your immaturity would make fun of in today's day and age, right? And I'll give you an example. I'll read the whole thing. So let me go to here. John 13. Right? And I'll start at the 12th verse. So, for those of you who know, this is the story where the Lord, washed the apostles' feet. Right? But let me just jump to this, and then I'll start up there. It says this: Now there was leaning on Yahushai's bosom one of his disciples whom Yahushai loved. Right? Now, some time ago, you had this guy Izar. He made fun of this, right? Where John was laying in the bosom of Yahushai. Now, one thing you have to understand is this one, that John at this time was a child. He was, well, let me say it right. By our standards, in today's day and age, he was a child. He was a young man, and the Lord Yahushai was like his like his big brother, and he was up under him a lot, right? And again, people in today's day and age would make fun of something like this. Or he wasn't no man, or or imagine if you saw some dude laying in another dude's chest, you would look at it funny, right? But here it is. This is the man Yahushai, who is the example, right? He's the example of leadership. He is the example of the sacrifice it takes to be a leader, right? And would you question him? So check that out, man. He had, one of the, apostles laying on his chest, essentially, like a father would his child, right? But we've been conditioned in this world so much that we're far removed from the things that are meaningful, right? So let me go to the next thing, which is up a little bit further, right? I think it's, did I say 12? Let me see. Right. Let me go to, where do I want to start? I'll start at 4 here. It says, he riseth from supper and laid aside his garments and took a towel and girded himself, right? After that, he poureth water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded, right? Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? And if you imagine that, I seen some of these brothers' feet, would you, could you do it? Could you move past your, insecurities? Could you move past your, that level of immaturity in you and wash a brother's feet? Ask that. I'm not going to answer, right? But, ask that question to yourself. You would look at that today as today's day, and I ain't washing no man's feet. In your immaturity, and when you're not wanting to be embarrassed, right? You would say that you wouldn't do that, right? Or you can't see yourself doing that kind of thing, right? But here it is again, the example, the man we're supposed to follow, or that we should be following, the man that we are to follow, doing it, man. Things that today, if what would you say if you saw somebody washing somebody's feet, man? And of course, it's being used as an example of how you're supposed to be in a position of servitude. But how many of us are willing to go through that, or willing to or bring ourselves down to such a level of humility to serve one another, So I was thinking of that, man, and it's being a leader is about sacrifice. Being a leader is about, and there's plenty of scriptures on it, right? But again, it's about sacrifice and what you're willing to. Are you willing to take the blame? Are you willing to, if like for instance, right, you have a camp leader and the bottom guy, right, the last guy in, right, the youngest man makes a mistake. Are you going to look at that man and say you made a mistake, or are you going to look at that man and say, I could have done more to help? Matter of fact, what was I thinking of earlier? Yeah, but I don't know if this is if it goes. Let me go to it anyway. Let's do it like this. I don't know if this is suitable, but I'll tell you what I was thinking when I read it earlier. This is James 5:16. It says, confess your faults one to another and pray one for another that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So this confess your faults, right, is not just like, okay, I did a wrong thing, so let me tell this brother, so he can pray for me. But confess your faults, even like in you like you and a brother may have a dispute, right, about something, a falling out about something. The best thing to do to make amends with that man is just to say what you did wrong. Oh, you know what, bro? I did this. I apologize. That won't happen again, or I'll do my best that doesn't happen again, right? That's also confessing your faults. What your part in the thing was, and what that speaks to is being accountable, man. Being accountable. You know, you can't be a leader and not take your part in what went wrong, or what is going wrong, or even if, matter of fact, or even if you didn't do anything wrong, right? You have to step up and take the blame for it. That's what being a leader is, man. What's that? 19th verse, right? I'll start at 18. It says, 1 Peter 2:18. It says, "Servants, be subject to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the froward. For this is thankworthy, if a man for a conscience toward the Most High endure grief, suffering wrongfully." Right? What type of person could do that? Right? Someone who's completely submitted himself to, you know, to this truth, to the brotherhood, to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You know, to suffer for something you didn't do wrong, but you say, you know what, I'll take that. This is my fault, and this is what we learn here in GMS. You know, and this is why it's important. You can look at it from both perspectives. You got the heads of the camps, right? If something's going on in the camp, they take the blame for it, and that's just the way we have it set up. The elder apostles won't say, "Oh, that guy's going off." He's gonna, especially Elder Apostle Tahar, he's gonna ask, "Well, what are the camp heads doing?" You know? And then from the other side, you know, being men that aren't heads of the camp, that are, you know, underneath the heads of the camp, should say, you know what? I don't want that man to get in trouble for something that I did. So let me make sure I'm on point. And that's all leadership, man. And every role, you know, there's leadership, and all it takes is to be, you know, accountable for the next man, and be willing to take that blame for the next man, you know. So it says this, for what glory is it, if when ye be buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently? But if when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with the Most High, right? So that reminds me, what's the other one there? Yeah. Romans 5:6. It says, this is Romans 5:6. It says, "For when we were yet without strength, in due time, Hamashiach died for the ungodly." You see, that's the leader, the one that got up on the cross, knowing that he didn't do anything wrong, but had to die for the whole nation, man. This is why I always say, man, we owe. Because not only didn't you do it, you wouldn't be willing to do it. And these guys who fall out of GMS, so-called, right, they can't even take somebody disagreeing with them. They can't even take somebody saying, "Nah, you can't do that, bro. If you're going to be a part of GMS, you can't do that." They can't even take that. So imagine if they were being told that they had to die for the whole nation. They'd kick and scream, man. You know? It's verse 6 again. It says, "For when we were yet without strength, in due time Hamashiach died for the ungodly. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die. Yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. But the Most High commendeth his love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Hamashiach died for us." You see that? You see that? He died for us, man. He took the blame. He took the brunt of the consequences, you know. So that's it, man. That's all I had. I don't even know what I could name this show. But, you know, it was in my head. It was, you know, scrambled thoughts. But, you know, I'm the Wadi Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for allowing me to get it out. Hopefully it was somewhat edifying. You know, being a leader is more than just, you know, growling like this guy. You know, patting on your chest and screaming, and that's not what it is to be a leader, man. Are you willing to take the blame for the brotherhood? Are you willing to, step up and take your part in what happened when you get in a spat with a bro, So again, I hope that was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rachak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well, and honor and salutations to those of you who are the hopeful elect. And with that, I say Shalom.